Today, we are digging into the story of one of humanity's greatest, most mind-boggling engineering feats. I mean, this is a project that people dreamed about for centuries. It took unbelievable courage to build, and, well, it nearly destroyed every single person who believed in it. This is the story of the Channel Tunnel, a truly tragic triumph. So to get us started, let me just throw a question out there for you. What single project, a true wonder of our modern age, was so ambitious, so controversial, that it took 2 full centuries to go from just an idea to an actual reality?
You guessed it, we're talking about the Channel Tunnel. And the very first serious plan, which was actually proposed to Napoleon Bonaparte himself, sounds like something straight out of a steampunk novel. An engineer named Albert Mathieu Favier imagined horse-drawn carriages just trotting along through these candlelit tunnels deep under the English Channel. Napoleon, of course, loved the idea. The British, well, let's just say they were not so keen.
And that reaction from the British? It pretty much became the theme for the next couple hundred years. The dream of building a tunnel turned into this 200-year obsession, but it kept getting shot down by one really powerful, deep-seated fear.
And believe me, they tried. Again and again, over 10 serious attempts were made. In fact, they even started digging a pilot tunnel way back in 1882. But the British military leaders completely freaked out, picturing an invading army just pouring right through it, so they shut the whole thing down. For centuries, this island fortress mentality kept Britain totally disconnected from the continent.
So, what finally broke the deadlock? Well, politics, of course. In 1984, Margaret Thatcher and Francois Mitterrand, they finally hammered out a deal. But Thatcher added one condition, a massive, high-stakes twist that would change absolutely everything and turn this whole thing into a billion-pound gamble. And that crucial condition was this: no taxpayer money, not a single pound from the government. You see, this one demand meant that, for the first time ever, the project had a green light. But it also meant that a private company would have to raise a completely record-breaking amount of cash and take on all of the risk themselves. And that decision, it would have massive, massive consequences down the line. So what exactly were these private investors signing up for? Let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this thing. They had to bore not just 1, but 3 parallel tunnels for a mind-bending total of 95 miles of tunneling under the sea. And to pull that off, you're going to need an army of people. At its absolute peak, this project had 13,000 workers, engineers, technicians, all working around the clock, coming from both England and France, all racing to meet in the middle. And the price tag? Whew. The initial budget was $4.65 billion. That made it the most expensive construction project in history before they had even moved a single shovel of dirt. Now, I want you to remember that number. 4.65 billion. Tuck it away because it is definitely going to come back later. Okay, so the money's raised, and in December 1987, the real war began. This was a war against time, against geology, and against the immense, crushing pressure of the ocean above. The plan was to bore through this one specific layer of chalk, which is soft and perfect for tunneling. But, reality is rarely that simple. This was war, beneath the waves. Now, to fight this war, they built 11 enormous tunnel boring machines, or TBMs. And here's a fun little cultural quirk for you. The British crews all gave their machines female names, while the French, well, they just numbered theirs. But no matter what they were called, these machines were basically heading into hell. The conditions for the workers down there, they were just brutal. Miles below the seabed, temperatures shot up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit with nearly 100% humidity. The noise was just this constant, deafening roar. The air was recycled, and the danger was always there. The crushing weight of the sea was a constant threat. Tragically, 10 workers lost their lives building this wonder of the modern world. But then came the moment. The moment that made all that struggle seem worthwhile. A moment of pure, absolute triumph. But what no one knew was that this incredible moment was masking a financial disaster that was already unfolding. On December 1st, 1990, a British worker named Graham Fagg and a French worker, Philippe Couzet, they broke through that final rock barrier, and they shook hands 131 feet below the seabed. Can you imagine that feeling? After years of relentless work, the 2 halves of the tunnel were off by just a few inches. The 200-year-old dream, it was finally real. But hey, remember that initial budget I told you to remember? The reality of the cost was just staggering. The project didn't cost £4.65 billion. In the end, it cost £9.5 billion. The costs had overrun by 80%. This wasn't just a little bit of bad planning, it was a perfect storm of surprises. Waterlogged geology they didn't expect, complex new safety roles, and just the sheer logistical nightmare of it all. The project was absolutely hemorrhaging money. So the financial collapse was total. I mean, the projections were just wildly optimistic. They planned for 30 million passengers in the first year. They only got 7 million. And you know why? Their models were stuck in the 80s, and they were completely blindsided by the explosion of low-cost airlines that would soon take over. By 1995, the company, EuroTunnel, was £8 billion in debt, and the share price, what was once worth £3.50, collapsed to just 7 pence. The original investors were wiped out completely.
So you have this bizarre situation. The engineering was a historic triumph, but the business side was an absolute nightmare. So what happened next? Well, this is the story of the Tunnel's legacy and its long, hard-fought journey from financial ruin to the reliable service we know today.
The tunnel officially opened in 1994, but it took another 13 long years for the company to finally turn its first annual profit in 2007. It was a brutal journey of restructuring and rebuilding, but today, its success is just undeniable. It has served over 500 million passengers. And in the end, the achievement was officially recognized for what it is, one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. It's a testament to human ingenuity and just pure perseverance against what seemed like impossible odds. So yeah, the impossible was achieved. A 200-year-old dream was made of concrete and steel. But it really leaves us with a question to chew on, doesn't it? When we chase these grand, world-changing ambitions, who ultimately pays the price for that kind of triumph?